Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile. Now this one is currently in beta, so if you guys have any suggestions, I would love to hear some of your guys' suggestions. I did take some of them from the comment sections below from the previous videos of the vampire zombies that I uploaded. But let's go ahead and get started, and I'll explain my choices as we go along. So first off, we got one Dark-Armed Dragon. There was one guy that was really salty about Dark-Armed Dragon. He was like, no, Dark-Armed Dragon doesn't belong in here. Zombies, it's really easy to get Dark-Armed Dragon, especially in the Vampire Zombies, because Vampire Sorcerer lets you add one. Generally, you're going to be adding Shadow Vampire, and you're going to be summoning Shadow Vampire, then you're going to activate its effect. Since this card will be banished, you'll only have Shadow Vampire on field, and then you activate its effect, then you get another dark, and then you can XYZ into another dark card, like, for example, Adrius. Or you can go for the Vampire XYZ, and if something goes wrong, bam, you have 3 darks. It's really easy to get 3 darks in the graveyard in this deck. So I think Dark-Armed is a very valid choice. Next up, I play 2 Vampire Lords. I don't generally like to draw this card. However, he's okay because you could always just discard it with Zombie Master. Next up, 3 Shadow Vampire. This is pretty much the key card in the deck. This allows you to go for really quick rank 5 XYZs. Your basic XYZ is Vampire Bram, but there's still a lot of great XYZs. Gaia is basically like a rank 5 because you just make anything, something like Shark Fortress, and then bam, Gaia on top of that to be extra dirty. Or you can also go, where's that? Volcasaurus. That's one of my favorite ones. Volcasaurus into Gaia Dragon is always very dirty as well. Next up, I played just 1 Goblin Zombie. My targets for Goblin Zombie are going to be Spirit Reaper, Endless Decay. Keep in mind, he has 0 defense. His attack is actually unknown, so you can't get him out with something like Mystic Tomato, but you can get him to your hand by Goblin Zombie. So you have Spirit Reaper, Endless Decay, which is one of your guys' suggestions. Actually, a few of you guys actually mentioned Endless Decay, which is a pretty awesome card. He's not so great when you draw him, simply just because he's level 5, but he's great that he's level 5 in the aspect that you can Pyramid Turtle into him, and then you just have setups with Shadow Vampire if you do happen to have a Vampire Sorcerer in the graveyard. So basically, early on in the game, he has 4,000 attack, which is pretty nasty, or depending on what your opponent's half of your opponent's life points. So if he's weak, well, that means you should be winning anyways because your opponent's life points are weak. But still, he's a good level 5 monster. Next up, Zombie Master. Just one of them. He's usually used to when you want to push for game. Another card, Mizuki. Great card for pushing for game if you happen to have the cards in your hand to do so. Usually, I like to play the old zombies where it was like, Zombie Master plus Dark-Armed was always the way to, finish off games. Or just, if you had setups with like a Book of Life, maybe like a Burial, Mizuki plays, those are like old zombies in like the Diva days. But generally now, since Mizuki is at 1, it's a little bit harder to kind of OTK with zombies. Next up, 3 Vampire Sorcerers. This is the key card in the deck, and I have 4 cards that essentially just bring this card out. This card is very good. Unfortunately, he is not searchable by Goblin Zombie, which really made me only want to play 1 Goblin Zombie, because this is the card that really makes the Vampire Zombies the Vampire Zombies, because his effect is that once he's destroyed by battle or by card effect, you basically just add this. This is what it comes down to. If you want to play the field spell or the trap, those are also available. However, we'll get into the field spell and reason why I don't play that. I did do some testing, but if you guys have other builds or other combos with the field spell, let me know. I'll try to revisit it in the future. Next I would play 1 Mystic Tomato, just because it searches out these guys. It also searches out a Goblin Zombie, or if you happen to have Spirit Reaper, that is also an option just to stall out. And then 3 Pyramid Turtle, because it brings out Vampire Sorcerer and pretty much everything else in the deck, because everything has very low defense. That's just kind of how zombies operate. Then I play 2 Maxi, 2 Valor, 1 Allure of Darkness, double Book of Life, a Heavy Storm, 2 Creature Swap. It is absolutely fantastic with Pyramid Turtle or something like Mystic Tomato. Next up, Dark Hull, Reborn, and where's Heavy? Oh, there we go. There's Heavy. Those ones always need to be right next to each other, just because they are always like the 3 best cards. And then I play 1 Duality. You don't always need a special summon in this deck. It's a little bit of a slower deck. Generally, your first turn is going to be opening, one of these cards. You'll set one of these cards. That's just generally how the first turn goes. So 1 Duality I think is okay. Then I play triple Space Typhoon because in the right time you can make some pretty good pushes, and you don't want this guy getting wrecked by something like D-Prison. that happens a lot to this card because obviously if he's destroyed. Destroyed by an opponent's card, then he'll just come back. But if he's D-Prison, then he won't come back. 2 Bottomlesses, 2 Torrentials, and 3 Breakthrough Skill. This card is just too good, especially now that it's coming out in common. Everyone has access to it. Now, as far as the Synchros, I just play 2 because, Effect Valor is still a card, plus Monster Reborn is always available. I feel like the most viable Synchro right now is Crimson Blader. If you can successfully get off a Crimson Blader, you can really do some damage to your opponent. Also, Catastrophe, I just like that card. Next up, we got one of a lot of stuff. Oh, actually everything is at 1 at this point, just because I like to have a variety. So I got a Gaia Charger, a number 61 Volcasaurus, I got the Vampire XYZ, Shark Fortress, Utopia, Popular Operative, Black Ship of Corn, Direwolf, Symphony to Jin, Dweller, Cowboy, Tyrus, and Adrius. And these are some other cards that when I was doing some testing, I just opted to not play them anymore. There was Caius. This is more of old style zombies, and this is just straight up zombies. Ill Blood. I really did like this card, but in order for like the XYZs to happen, you know, I mean, if he gets his effect off multiple times, you probably already have won. But if he was level 5, this would make everything so much easier. But unfortunately, he is level 6, so 1 level too high. And there's also this card, Vampire Grace, but that card, unfortunately, is also a level 6 monster. You can kind of spam this card too. It's kind of one of those push harder cards. If you want to run Ill Blood and Vampire Grace, that might be an option. I might look into that type of build in the future. Also, Burrow from a Different Dimension. If you want to maybe play Plague Spreader, that would be an excellent option. If Mizuki ever goes to 2, I would definitely recommend this, but since it's at 1, I'm not going to be playing that. Vampire Shift, which basically just revolves around this field spell. Next up, Phoenix Chain and Book of Life. So these are cards that you could opt to play. You can test them out. Okay, and so my reason for not playing the field spell, this is the problem that I have with the field spell. So obviously when you inflict damage with either Vampire Lord or, what is it? Does this one have this effect too? Where is it? I think there's another one. Oh, where is it? This one right here. Goblin Zombie has that effect. When you inflict battle damage, they send the top card from their deck to the graveyard. So whenever they send cards from their deck to the graveyard, you get to pop 1 card. And since you can only do it really when you inflict battle damage with this build, essentially if you run into something like Mirror Forge, G-Prison, all those other cards, you won't be able to get your effect off. And if you're already getting your effect off of, you know, sending some card to the graveyard, usually their back row is not going to be something too good, because it probably would have stopped you from either summoning the monster or, you know, being able to attack in the first place. That's why I'm not, you know, playing it. Plus, the 500 boost is kind of mediocre, especially since Dino Rabbit is not really, like, the most popular deck right now. Like, 500 boost versus E-Dragons, are they really going to carry? Not really, because pretty much everything in their deck is going to run over you or steal you anyways. This deck will absolutely get outclassed by the tier 1 right now, so if you're looking to compete with this deck, I do recommend you to, you know, wait maybe for the September list to roll around and you can see what your options are. And, you know, if the E-Dragon and Spellbook get hit hard enough, potentially this deck might have some chance. But, you know, as of right now, it's kind of too slow, because generally, like I said, your first turn is going to be setting cards like these. Or you can set this card or this card. But anyways, if you guys have any suggestions for this deck, let me know in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. And we can actually modify this deck and we'll, you know, work on vampire zombies in the future. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes signing out.